Hello, this is Kelly from Made to Shine Designs, and this is the Bourbon Rose flower tutorial. And this is what comes in the kit. You have 6 of these little flower petals. You have 5 of these, and then one 1.5-inch circle. So we're going to start with these little flowers first. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold one of them in half this way, and rather than doing it where like a petal would be on top of another petal, do it where when you fold it over in half, one of these little heart-shaped little petals goes between the other two. It'll just make for a little prettier design. And then we're going to put some glue down inside. I'm sorry, my glue is too on a short leash here. I'm going to move that over for you in just a second. Okay, so we're going to fold that over, and then we're going to fold this one over. So we're going to fold it really into fourths. So you fold it that way, let that glue dry a second, and then fold it over this way. And so what you're left with is this tiny little poof of a flower, I would say. Like that. I'm just going to hold it for a second, let that glue dry. And I got a little too much glue to squirt up there. Be careful with that. If you put too much glue, then it's going to show. We don't want that. You don't want ever for the glue to show. So let me just move my glue over here. Sorry about that. And I am using a Bonder fine tip glue gun, which I list that in the supplies that you need. A glue gun of some kind. The little fine tips help you to get less glue. So let me try that again where I don't get too much glue. So put it way down inside of here. Now there is a hole inside of this cutout right here. So just be careful when you put the glue down in there that it doesn't squirt out on the bottom and burn your fingers. Okay, so then fold it over again into a fourth. Just a tiny little bit down there in the very bottom. All right, just letting that dry a second. And here's another little tip. Sorry, I just thought of something that might help you. Just another supply that you can get. That can be a little bit of a help to you. Let me show you that. These are little clips that you can get on Amazon. And what you can do is when you're letting them dry, you can do that rather than having to hold it in your fingers. And I'll do it on this one. But when you go to let it dry in that very last step, then you can just put that little clip on. This one isn't too big of a deal. There are other flowers where there's multiple steps, and those little clips can really come in handy. So I'm going to show you with this one. So I would just put that little clip on the bottom, and then I can move on. I don't have to hold on to it. So that'll help the video to go a little quicker too. All right, so a little bit. So again, there are 6 of these. And if you've looked at the picture, these are going to be the center of this flower. And this is that little hole that I was talking about. If you're not careful, when you go to put the glue down in there, it's going to go right down in that hole onto your finger. So just be careful about that. Along the edge of the circle that's showing through. Okay, so then by the time you're done doing all the rest of them, then those first ones are all done, and you can take the clips back off. There are certain flowers, I would say, like if you're doing like a hydrangea flower where you're doing tons of little petals like this that have to be glued, then you would definitely want to use those little clips. All right, so then for the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to glue these onto the circle. So just kind of randomly, you're going to put these on here. It doesn't really matter. There's 6 of them, so kind of you can think in your mind how you want to place those. But you're just going to put a big dollop of glue down on the very bottom of this. And you can cut the very tip of this off. I'll show you that. I'll do that for you in just a second. It does give you a little bit better of a surface to glue from. So you can take, the other thing that I have in your supplies that you'll need with all of these is a little set of fine tip scissors. This one is not really as crucial that you need scissors unless you want to do this step. But if you just kind of cut a little bit off, it gives you just a little bit more of a glued surface. But you do have to be very careful. Don't cut off too much, or else you're going to cut off the glue that you use to assemble the little flower. The little petals there, and they're going to just pop back apart. So one of them should definitely go into the center, and then you'll try to do the other 5 kind of going around, doing them kind of in a little bit of a different direction each time. Don't always have them opening in the same direction. And that way they'll be nice and random as they're in there. So see how that's coming together. And you see how I just kind of randomly put them in there, but I made sure I was spacing them out so that there'd be just enough space for 5 of those to go around the outside and then 1 in the center. And if you want it to be even fuller, if you look at it and you say you want it to be fuller, then you could kind of use one of these that were cut out as a template, and you could cut out another one. If you had some other colors of felt would be pretty, is to do these as different colors. I've done that before, so you could do that if you wanted to make it even more full, because if you look there, you could put another one right inside there if you wanted to. All right, so then the next step then is just to do the petals around the outside. Now, if you notice that these that you have are going to come with this little slit on the bottom, and what that's for is to be able to just take and kind of overlap those 2 like that. You're just going to slide one flap over another and glue it. But what's going to happen is it's going to make a little, almost like a little shelf right there once you do that. You kind of see what's happening there. So just a little bit of glue on one side. Cross those over so that it's going to stand up like that. And then I think you can probably guess what's going to happen next is that's going to go underneath there. But let's do all of those, overlapping them like that so that they will stand up and go around the edges of this flower. Okay, so once you've got those all glued, now you're going to, what I like to do is kind of do a dry run. Don't glue anything, but kind of just see how much you're going to need to overlap these in order to get it to go all the way around. So see, if I had them that close together, it's not going to be spaced very well. So I need to make them a little bit further apart. And so that kind of shows me that to make this flower come out evenly, this is about how much I need to overlap each flower. Kind of about like this much. Okay, now I've shown you in some of my other videos, when you're doing something where you're wanting them to continuously overlap like this, you don't want the last one that's left to overlap and be both on the bottom, if you see what I mean there. You want this one to go over and this one to go under on all the way around. So in order for that to happen, the first one that you start with, don't glue this edge. Leave that edge unglued and just glue this edge. So we're only going to put glue on this side. And I'm just gluing it right to that little flat area that was created by overlapping there, glues to the bottom of the circle. and that just makes it to kind of stand up like this and makes it where these kind of get pushed in a little bit all the way around the edge of the circle. Okay, so as I was saying, so this next one, we want it to be over the top of this one, and then it's going to keep overlapping like that. So this time I can put glue on both sides. I can put some glue here on this side and this side. And I'm going to try to overlap it about the same as I figured out I needed when I did my little test run. Okay. Then just keep going around like that. Again, you see how it went over the top of that one. Okay, two more. You do kind of a V with your glue there. And then when we're left with the last one, then what you want to do, you left that one unglued. So now I can do, when I go down to glue it down, I can do the same as I did there, but this one I'm going to kind of slip it up under the edge of that one so that you have a continuous like over and under kind of pattern when you go around. So we can go ahead and do a V here and do it the same, but when I go to put it in, I'm going to make sure it's centered between those two, and I'm going to slip it up underneath that one. Okay, and then you can go ahead and put some glue on this one, the first one that you started with, on that side, and that's it. The only other thing I will tell you is if you wanted your rose flower for these petals to be a little shallower, where they only come up, you know, a lot less, like this is a kind of a deep flower is what I mean, and these come up kind of far, and some people like for them to have the petals down a little closer to where these petals are. All you need to do is just snip the bottom of those pieces a little bit before you glue them on. So you would snip off the bottom a little bit and then go ahead and snip the center part so you can do that overlap part. But that's just you know, if you want to make your flower a little different than what this sample flower is. So that is the Bourbon Rose flower tutorial. Thank you, and I look forward to more videos with you.